Hi, my name is Jason, and I'm here today to talk to you about the old style windows that you may find in your historic home. They're mostly going to be putty set windows, single pane. As your home gets older, you're going to want to reglaze your window, take out the old glass, clean up the wood frame, apply new putty. We're going to be talking about a couple different style windows here. The one I have in front of me is a fixed window. There's no movement in this window. It's tied into your window frame. And I'm just going to go over how you would re-putty your window. You're going to find that over the years, the putty has peeled away. Window may be coming out of the opening. We're going to go ahead, we're going to take that window out. And I got a window pane right here that I've already removed from the frame. I've got it all cleaned up. Got the frame nice and sand, all the old putty picked off of there. It's very important that you do very good prep work when you're putting in your windows, because if you don't have a good seal, you're just gonna run across this problem a few years down the road. We're gonna throw in our piece of glass here into our opening, and then we have these little tiny clips or stays, as they call them, that are gonna keep that window in place so you can putty your window. You technically wanna put in 4 of these stays per window, right in the center on each side of the window. You're gonna drive one of these guys in, and all you really need is like a flat-edged putty knife, a flat-edged scraper. You're gonna wanna make sure that your stay is nice and level with the glass, not coming down at an angle so it pinches that glass and breaks it. So you wanna be super careful on how you put these in. Normally they go in nice and easy, just a little bit of pressure with your flathead and sticks right into the side of that wood. You're gonna wanna drive it all the way down to the feet of that stay and get a nice secure lock onto that piece of glass. And again, like I said, you're gonna do one of these on each run of the window. That way you have uniformity and pressure holding that window pane into place. And then at this point, we're gonna get out our putty and we're gonna putty this window. There are 2 types of putty out there. One is a 33 DAP window glazing. The other one is basically the same thing, but in a caulking tube. Much easier to work with, much easier to handle, and cures 10 times faster than the old style putty. As far as the caulking gun goes, cut off the tip, put your tip back on, and you're just gonna lay down a nice even bead of putty along the side of the window, if the window doesn't come apart. And I like to do 1 run at a time, because as I put this down, it's instantly starting to cure. So the faster you get it tooled, the better off you're gonna be. Then you're gonna get a little flat putty knife. I like to use a plastic shim. It's more pliable. I feel like I have a better grip on it than an actual putty knife. You're gonna start in the very corner at a 45-degree angle, and you're gonna pull this putty knife or shim down the side of the window, all the way to the corner, and then come out of the corner. Again, we're looking for a 45-degree angle on that putty. If you get any sort of bubbles, anything like that, you can just wipe your excess bit of putty off, come back through, run it over again, and pull off. You're gonna want yourself a razor blade, a putty knife, to go ahead and clean up that edge of putty that you have on your window, trying to make a straight line as possible, all the way down, and then just lift up and out. Now with our other style putty, it's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more time intensive, and takes a whole lot longer to cure. You're just gonna peel out with your hand a little bit of that putty, and we're gonna go ahead and shape it into a nice little form evenly all the way across. Try to get it even, sometimes that's a little difficult. And then we're gonna lay that putty down onto the window, stretching it across. Now you're gonna wanna push that putty down into the window crack to get as good adhesion as possible. And this is where this stuff is a little bit more time intensive and a little bit more messy, and sometimes doesn't like to stick. Not my favorite putty. I much rather the caulking tube. But again, you'll grab your straight edge and you're gonna kind of work that down in, using lots of pressure to get it down into the crack in between the wood and the glass, wiping off your excess as you go. And then we're gonna run it again at a 45-degree angle, starting in the corner, coming across, with lots of pressure to keep it into the crack, pull it off, and then again, we're gonna clean it up with a razor blade or another putty knife and get a nice straight edge on that putty. So this old style putty, there's a couple reasons why I don't like it. One of the main reasons is it's super time intensive to work with, it's messy, and it takes a long time to cure. You could wait anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks for this putty to fully cure, and you want to wait till it's fully cured before you do any sort of priming and painting, which I recommend both, especially priming. If you don't get a good primer on that, it's not going to soak up that paint and adhere like it should. Then again, with the caulking tube putty, it's very pliable, very easy to work with, and very easy cleanup. It's just a matter of pulling the lever, getting a nice even stream coming down your window, and then tooling it out. Whereas this putty, you got to work it with your hands, you got to get it down in the cracks, push it down in there with your fingers. By the time you're done, your hands are covered in white stuff, and it's kind of a bear. Now there's a little lip on these windows where the glass sits into, and that's kind of your line where you want your putty to be. If it's over that wood lip, you're gonna see it from the other side, and it's just not gonna look very nice. This putty cures probably, I would say, within 1 to 3 days compared to 3 to 6 weeks. Another thing is it doesn't take moisture very well. So like on a rainy day like today, instantly this other putty that you got to work with your hands is just balling up. It doesn't really want to work very well. It's going to play a big part in what sort of putty you're going to be using. The whole thing about this whole process is all about the prep. The more prep you do on your window, the better the end product is going to be. So if you want to do it nice, quick, and fast and not take the time to sand everything down and make sure you get all the dust off of it, do your priming and your painting, unfortunately, a couple years down the road, you're gonna notice that because the putty's gonna start popping out because it didn't get a good cure, it didn't get a good adhesion to the glass, and really you're just making twice as much work for yourself. Now you may have some old wood windows that are coming apart. If that's the case, you're gonna wanna remove all the pieces of glass, sand down your wood, get some good wood glue in there, clamp it down with some clamps and let it cure. That way you have a nice tight fit around your window glass. Thank you very much. That was my spiel.